Hello, this is Philippe Pauvet. I'm the Global Sales and Marketing Director here at the Kusnacht Practice. We are reinventing the experience of care. I am today with Eduardo Greghi. Eduardo is the CEO of the Kusnacht Practice. Good afternoon, Eduardo. A study by the National Institute of Mental Health found that 72% of entrepreneurs are directly or indirectly affected by mental health issues compared to just 48% of non entrepreneurs. Eduardo, what do you think about this?
It's very clear that entrepreneurs have a lot more pressure. When you are an entrepreneur, most of the time you are investing, especially if you are, small entrepreneur, you don't have that much liquidity. Whenever something like that happens on a global scale, you are immediately the one who have to find a way out of it, right? So you are the first one affected by the stress, affected by the doubt, by the insecurity. In my case, you are immediately faced with the worst situation that you can have, which is clients cannot come or you have no clients. Everybody's full of fear. And in most cases, I would say if you have fixed employees, you are then, of course, facing a situation where how am I going to provide the salaries of my employees? Is my company going to survive? Many entrepreneurs have taken debt or money from investors to run their businesses, and that's a huge pressure. Often, what you will face, and I have seen this in my own environment, I've seen people facing the end of their livelihood as it was, and the complete destruction of their business, and it often means losing everything. So yeah, I'm not surprised that the entrepreneurs are affected 72% to 48%. If you are an employee, you have a lot less to lose in most situations, and you can apply in Switzerland in this case for welfare, and you are secure for a couple of months, and you can look for a job somewhere else. In the case of a business, you cannot simply move on. You are tied to it.
Yeah, and that leads me to the second question I wanted to ask you today is that 23% of entrepreneurs that have family members who face these problems compared to just 16% of other with family members who face the same type of issue. That is precisely reflected in what you were saying, being that the family of the entrepreneurs are way more exposed than the families of non-entrepreneurs in that respect, right?
Yes, I mean, we are a society, we are actually a family society, right? Although many of us live alone, we all think family wise. To most of us, the well being of our family is as important or even more important than our own well being. So it's not surprising that once, often, let's say, the patriarch of the family, or if it's a family business, whenever this stress is affecting you, it affects the whole family immediately. Even, there's no way around it. And especially if the livelihood of the person managing it, let's say the entrepreneur, it directly affects the livelihood of his entire family. I particularly have seen cases, I know people who have lost everything and they need to move, they need to sell their house, their kids cannot have the same kind of life. So it can be incredibly stressful and very destructive. And many of these people, they have reached an age in their life where, they burn most of their oil. And it would be a massive effort to get back. A lifetime of hard work and savings can be destroyed in a short period of time. I can talk from personal experience. I have three siblings, and all of them lost their jobs during the pandemic. It stressed me out as well. I felt very highly affected by it as a person that I can share this personal experience here. It's very difficult for a family member to face it.
Are you surprised that mental health cases and burnout among CEOs are also said to have doubled during the pandemic, according to the Daily Telegraph?
No, oh my God, not at all. I mean, that applies similarly to the entrepreneur. And, when you are the CEO of a business, you hold the full responsibility of the future of the business on your shoulders. And you are in check, really. And what are you going to do? The pandemic hit, you have no clients. Now, like in the hotel industry, it's a disaster, right? From one day to the other. And then you face the situation of having to cut costs at times. And it's very hard to let go of people who you have hired, you have trained, they're working hard, and for any reason, because something that's outside of your control. Making those decisions are very hard. On top of it, your own livelihood as a CEO is also at risk. You need to consider, and often the board will consider. Often the CEO has a larger salary than most employees, and he is also at risk of his own job. I'm not surprised at all. The pressure is on him. That really takes a toll on a person.
And corporate pressures associated with COVID-19, including depressed revenues and redundancies, as you mentioned, the stress of managing staff affected by the pandemic, and running a company from home will all play into burnout and mental health crisis, won't it?
Yes, I mean, this is, of course, a complete new situation. For example, I would say in my own business here, the Kusnacht Practice, we were not used to do video conferences. We had our huddle in the morning every day physically. Everybody got together and we discussed the day every day. So to adapt to the new situation, to try to play this chess with your eyes closed is a new thing to most people. We're not used to it, so we need to adapt. Um, and that has to do with adaptability. No matter how much adaptable you are, so many changes at once, plus the pressure of the pandemic, plus the restrictions that you have by government. Now you can go out, now you cannot. You can travel, you cannot. All of this adds up ever so persistently, and it causes massive amount of stress. Even on people that are not at risk of losing their jobs. Simply adapting by the new way of working has a huge effect. And then it comes the changes in your own private life. To stay home, many people, they're not used to stay home with their spouses for so long, and that can be a huge change in their lives. Just the change itself can cause problems in the relationship, and those problems, they affect back the performance at work and the ability to manage. So I'm not surprised that there are burnouts even though you are at home. People really feel the stress of this situation.
Precisely, talking about spending more time at home with relatives and also friends, maybe can look out for an entrepreneur or CEO that what are the kind of signs that may indicate that they are suffering from mental health stresses or burnout?
Right. Well, I mean, there are so many people here in my team who could answer this question 1,000 times better than I will. I'll give a try here. I would say the first things you should look out for on your loved one is that the person, is he still exercising if possible, or he or she eating well, sleeping well. So those are the first signs. People start to feel anxiety, they don't sleep so well, and then if you don't exercise well, you don't eat well, often you start to have consequences. They're ever very slowly but persistence, and those changing habits, they take a while to show. And it's basically, it's kind of a mild depression. The person is not that excited to do things, normal things in life. Often in a healthy brain, a healthy relationship in an individual, people take great pleasure in having a meal with their kids, in playing with their kids, in spending time with their spouses and friends. So the first thing that starts to happen is that people start to isolate themselves a bit. Then often, it can be added by drinking a bit more and taking prescription drugs, feeling more anxious. So when you notice that, definitely is those are signs that can precede the burnout. Although I really would like to ask that question to one of our psychiatrists here who are very well trained and can answer that question better than me.
And what tip would you give to a CEO or an entrepreneur who may be concerned about their mental well-being?
The number one thing I would say is that presence is more important than productivity. This is the number one advice I would give. There's very little we can control. The only thing you can control is yourself. Be present, take care of yourself. Really, I mean, for instance, one of our values here at the Kusnacht Practice is well-being. So it's nearly a religious thing to do your sports. In my case, I do have a massage once a week. It's part of my investment in my own health. Meet people you love. Spend time with people you love as much as you can. And sleep, that's definitely also a key element of staying healthy. People often they neglect their sleep, and that's the beginnings. And yes, give. As a CEO, one of the things I always think to myself is I would think not from the point of, okay, I need this, I need that, the company need this. Keep thinking, what can you give? What is it that I can give without expectations? Similar to when I give you an apple, I expect nothing back but your smile. And if not, that's also okay. So it's really take care of yourself, care about your health, about your sleep, about your mental health, and give, because when you take care of the people around you, they will take care of you. That's what I can tell during the pandemic here. I really felt helpless for a while. It hit me very hard, and staying calm and giving the team the confidence, and you take care of them, they do take care of you. So that's my experience. Thank you so much.
And that concludes the interview for today. Thank you very much, Eduardo. We were today with Eduardo Greghi, the CEO of the Kusnacht Practice.
Thank you.